Product can be synthesized depending upon the complexity of the product, how big that molecule is. So you have different ways of synthesizing a particular molecule. So one of the method is linear synthesis. Linear synthesis means what? You synthesize starting from A. Suppose A is your starting material. So convert A to B, convert the second product to third product will give you the final product. So linearly you are going. So each step, each product is dependent on the previous one. Okay, so it is a series of linear transformations which are used to convert a reactant into multiple products. This is the longest route because suppose to synthesize D, you have to synthesize, go from step 1, 2, 3. So it's a longest route. And at each step, there are chances that the yield of the product may go on reducing. So the final product that you are getting will be much less than whatever starting material you had used. So it is a longer route. It takes a lot of time. The expected yield is lower because at each step there is loss of the product, loss of the compounds. Okay, and the overall yield drops at each step. Suppose you have started with 100 grams of the reactant A, there are chances that only 20 grams of the product D will be obtained. So what has happened to 80% of the product? It has been wasted, it has been lost. Okay, so definitely linear synthesis is a bit it's avoided, but of course if there are no options then we have to go for that. Now let's take example of this. So you have to synthesize para bromo aniline and the starting material is nitrobenzene. Okay, so this is what you have to do. So what you need to do, see the conversion. First you have to convert NO2 to NH2, then you have to put bromine also. So what are the different steps? So starting with NO2, we are going to get first reduction. So we have this NH2. Now you will say that directly do bromination and get Br over here, but that doesn't happen because bromination can take place at ortho position as well as at para position, but we want only at para position. So what we need to do is blocking. This is called as protection. In green chemistry you have studied one of the principle that you should avoid these steps of derivatization, protection and deprotection. So what we do, we carry out acetylation. So here NH is replaced by COCH3. Now what is the use of doing this? Can anyone tell me? Unmute yourself and tell me why have we done this? What happens and why doesn't the Br come over here? Can anyone tell? What are we doing over here? What do you mean by this blocking the group over here? What is the meaning of that? Yes, anyone? Why are we doing this? Yes? Any idea? Come on. This group, look at this. Hydrogens are small. COCH3 is a big group. So when you bring this group over here, this whole area is blocked. Okay, this whole area is blocked. What is this called as? What is this called as? Steric hindrance, right? So because of steric hindrance, because this whole section is blocked over here, bromine cannot attack here. There are two active positions, ortho position and para position. Okay, now or at ortho the bromine cannot go because this whole group is bulky group. So when you carry out bromination, bromine directly goes to para position, but our product is NH2. So now what we need to do, we need to deblock this. So we will carry out hydrolysis. Hydrolysis is carried out to remove COCH. Okay, so this is an example of linear synthesis. So from A to B, then B goes to give C, C to D and D to the product. This is called as linear synthesis, and at each step some product is lost. Okay, so such type of synthesis we would say is not a green method, and this type of synthesis should be avoided because the product amount is less, loss of product is there. Fine. So there is another synthesis which is called as convergent synthesis. What we do is we if suppose you want to prepare this product E, okay, so these are the two reactants. So we will prepare these two reactants in different steps and then combine it. to give a product. Okay, so see the points in convergent synthesis. Intermediates are synthesized in different steps. Okay, two different intermediates or pieces are then combined to form a final product. This is applicable for synthesis of complex molecules. Okay, it's an independent synthesis. It is more useful if the compound is large and symmetrical. And there are a lot of advantages of this type of synthesis. Okay, so there are various advantages that it product is more efficient, less waste products are formed. Okay, so all these are the advantages. Now, for example, we want to synthesize tert butyl alcohol. So this is your tert butyl alcohol. Okay, and it can be synthesized by reacting these two substances. So what we do in convergent synthesis, we will in one reaction we will prepare Grignard reagent. In second reaction we will prepare acetone. Okay, so see, first step, preparation of Grignard reagent. So this is a Grignard reagent. So this is our first reactant, one of the reactant we have prepared in one step. Second reactant, this is the second reactant we have prepared in second step. So now these are the two reactants which we have obtained from two different steps. Now we will just combine these two and you are going to get your product. Are you understanding this, students? Are you there? I'm not able to see anything on the chat box. Okay. Okay, have you all understood this? Convergent and linear. Have you understood the difference between the two? What you can remember, linear means what? A to B to C to D. And convergent means what? A to B, C to D, and then B and D combines to give E. Okay, simple examples you can remember. Fine. Okay, so these are the two comparison between the two synthesis. Look at the difference between the two. Linear synthesis, the yield is comparatively less than convergent synthesis. Okay, every step in the linear synthesis some loss is there. So definitely in linear synthesis the efficiency is low, process is longer, it takes lot of time, the yield is lower than what is expected. Are you getting it? Is that clear to you? Okay, so most of the time it is always preferred to have a convergent synthesis. If there is no other option, then we have to go for linear synthesis. But looking at taking all the principles of green chemistry into account, most of the syntheses are now changed so that they can have minimum steps. Fine. So you are going to learn the difference between linear and convergent synthesis. One example for each. Okay. Have you understood this? Now we'll go to the next topic, selectivity. So selectivity means what? Suppose in your reactant you want conversion of only one of the functional group. That means you want to selectively convert one functional group out of the many functional group. So this is called as chemoselectivity. So chemoselectivity is something which is related to the group that reacts. Okay. Second is regioselectivity. Regio stands for region or the position at which the reaction will take place. So I'll give you examples and you will be in a better position to understand this. Now let's just look at the examples. Okay. So there are two active functional groups over here. One is C double bond O and one is the C double bond C. Now this is a reduction reaction. If you look at the reactions properly, these are reduction reactions. NaBH4 is also a reducing agent. Hydrogen is also a reducing agent. Okay. Now what we want to do, look at the example number 1. You want to selectively reduce C double bond O to OH. But you don't want to reduce the C double bond C. So if you use lithium aluminum hydride, okay, for reduction, it will reduce both. Fine. So we cannot use that. So let's go for NaBH4. It's a mild reducing agent compared to lithium aluminum hydride. But it is capable of reducing ketones, but it cannot reduce alkenes. So we have achieved chemoselectivity. Are you getting this? So we are reducing only one of the functional groups selectively in presence of others. This is controlled by chemoselectivity. This is called as selective reduction. So out of the two functional groups, only one functional group has reacted. Have you all understood this? So if the double bond remains as it is, only the C double bond O group is converted to OH group. So hence, and why? Because we have selected a reducing agent that way. Have you understood this, students? Is that clear to you? Okay. Just unmute yourself and tell me. Hmm? Hello? Hello? And now you people, one of you explain me what is happening in this reaction. Who can do that? Yes, any one of you just unmute yourself. What have we selectively reduced in the second reaction? See, the reactant is same. The reactant is same, but the product is different. The product is different because the reagent we have used is different. But both are reduction reactions. So what are we doing over here? Yes, what are we doing over here? We are selectively reducing C double bond C, whereas C double bond O is kept as it is. Is that clear to you? Hmm? This is called as chemoselectivity. So chemoselectivity, always remember, it is related to functional group conversion. When two or more functional groups are present, only one functional group is converted selectively. Hence it is called as chemoselective. Okay. Next is regio. Regio stands for what? Region. Okay, chemo stands for chemical group, functional group. Regio stands for a region or a specific site. Okay, first I will explain the example and then we will go for what exactly it means. Now you are well aware of Markovnikov's rule. Yes or no? What is Markovnikov's rule? Negative part of the reagent goes to carbon having less number of hydrogens. Which is your less number of hydrogens? This carbon is having a less number of hydrogen. We are talking about C double bond C. This is addition reaction. So this is our negative part, bromine will go to carbon having less number of hydrogen, that is CH. So you are getting 2-bromopropane. This is Markovnikov's rule, right? And now do you remember anti-Markovnikov's rule? What is anti-Markovnikov rule? Exactly opposite to Markovnikov rule. Now just look at the difference between the two reactions. The reactants are same, but in presence of hydrogen peroxide, the whole product has changed. Now your Br has attached on first carbon. Getting it? Here the Br was attached to second carbon. In the second reaction, Br is attached to now first carbon in the product. So this is called as regioselectivity. So there are two active sites over here, first position and second position. In Markovnikov rule, your negative part, your bromine goes to second position, whereas in anti-Markovnikov rule, the bromine goes to first position. Okay, so here there is a preference of one reactive site over the other. This is called as regioselectivity. This is called as regioselectivity. Have you understood this? Markovnikov's and anti-Markovnikov rule. The reason for regioselectivity is Markovnikov rule takes place through formation of carbocation, whereas anti-Markovnikov rule, when hydrogen peroxide is used, free radicals are formed. And because of the stability of the intermediate free radical, you get this type of product. So if you want 1 bromopropane, you add H2O2. If you want 2 bromopropane, don't add anything. Just mix the two reagent and heat it. Is that clear to you? Have you all understood this, students? So this is called as regioselectivity. Preference for bond making at a particular place when there are two or more positions available for bond formation. So that is called as regioselectivity. Have you all understood? Have you all understood this? Hmm? So have you understood the difference between regio and chemo? Can anyone just quickly tell me two keywords for regio and chemo? For chemoselectivity, what keyword are you going to remember? Functional group. Out of two or more functional group, one group reacts selectively. And for regioselectivity, what is the keyword that you're going to remember? Site. Site or the region. Is that clear to you? Okay, fine. Now let's go for the next one. These are some reactions that we are going to study. Birch reduction. Okay. So this is again a example of regioselectivity. So this is uh, Birch reduction is a reduction of a benzene group, benzene ring, which aromatic rings undergo 1,4 reduction. Okay, two positions are reduced. Okay, so like the difference between the two groups is the functional group. The reaction is going to take place on the benzene ring, but because two different groups are present, the reduction takes place in a different way. Okay, now two different functional groups. Reduction is taking place on benzene ring. The reducing agent is also same, but the product is different. The reduction on benzene ring is different. So look at the first reaction. When the methoxy group was present, okay, where did the reduction take place? This is position number 1. Let me see if I can. Uh, Sorry. See, this is position number 1. This is position number 2. This is 3. This is 4, 5 and 6. Okay, where has the reduction taken place? At position number 3, and here is the position number 6. Okay, why this is called as 1,4 reduction? So just count, now these are not position, just look at the carbons. This is first, second, third, fourth. That is why we call it as what? 1,4 reduction. Okay, but which are the positions that have reduced? Third and sixth. Whereas in this position, look at the position which are reduced. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So which positions are reduced here? Fourth position and one position. Whereas in this position, third position and sixth position. So in spite of the reaction taking place on the benzene ring, the positions of the reductions are different. And this is because of the functional groups which are present. So we are achieving different sites of reduction. So this is an example of what? Regioselectivity. Is that clear to you? Have you understood this? Okay. So this depends on the mechanism. We won't go in the mechanism right now. That is not asked. So right now you just remember that in Birch reduction, which is a 1,4 reduction, here depending upon the group that is attached to the benzene ring, you get the product. Okay. Different positions on the benzene ring are reduced. So in exam also, the keywords that you are going to remember in Birch reduction is 1,4 reduction of the benzene ring. Okay. Examples of these products. Okay. Example where which positions the reductions are going to take place. These are the keywords that you're going to remember. Fine.